Ever since Donna was a girl, no one believed she'd get very far.
You're breaking up with me? In a birthday card?
Well, they don't make breaking up cards.
But that won't stop her from going places.
Frankly, people, you can be whatever you want.
Why do you want to be a stewardess?
Because of all the travel opportunities.
We fly from Laughlin to Fresno.
It won't be fast.
Captain, we are... Captain?
It won't be smooth.
You ever been on a plane before?
Yeah, you know.
But this small-town girl...
I love that lipstick.
Chanel, we are every bit as good as they are. We are?
...is about to get a taste...
Royalty Airlines job fair. Who's in?
...of the big time.
I'm John Whitney, head of the flight attendant trainee program. This one.
I want my hand towels, I want my little booties, and I want my warm nuts.
Gwyneth Paltrow, Christina Applegate, Mark Ruffalo, Candace Bergen with Kelly Preston, Rob Lowe, and Mike Myers.
Don't ever let anything get in the way of your destiny.
View from the top.
Assess the window.
It's assess the window. You put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. This
Welcome
movie.
Back
Welcome
to
back
the
to the
show, listeners. This movie, man.
I mean, is this the worst movie we've ever done on our podcast? It might be.
Well,
but I still love it, though.
Yeah. Listeners, you're about to find out. You're in for a treat. Everybody out there, my name's Pete.
And I'm Scott. And these are the movies that made us gay.
Yes, indeed. Oh, boy. Scott, what did we watch today, and who is our wonderful guest?
We had our friend Brad on for the movie View from the Top.
Welcome back, Brad.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Brad, you were on last for our Clueless episode, which is one of my personal favorite episodes. I love all of our episodes, but I am very proud of the Clueless episode. And I love that you picked for your follow-up a Gwyneth Paltrow movie, and A, Gwyneth Paltrow movie, and B, a Stacey Dash movie. A Stacey Dash deep cut.
Well,
I sense a theme.
Oh, my goodness.
So, how did we land on View from the Top?
Well, I mean, aside from the fact that it is every bit the cultural touchstone that Clueless is, there are just so many reasons. And
absolutely.
I'm actually rethinking them all right now myself.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I have vivid memories of this movie coming out. I remember reading about this movie in Premiere Magazine, and they had the 3-shot of Gwyneth, Kelly, and Christina in the airport bar in Nevada, and it was just like, this is what Gwyneth Paltrow's up to. She's doing a movie about flight attendants. And like,
100%.
16-year-old me could not wait for this movie.
I totally agree. And remember, this is around Erin Brockovich time.
Yeah.
So the idea of a push-up bra and big hair and a kind of Academy Award winner going there was just
sign me
something
up.
Exciting about it.
True.
Yeah, I felt the same as you, Scott.
I had never seen this movie before last night.
Peter's thoughts.
Have many thoughts on this movie, the first of which is Justice for Kelly Preston.
Oh,
yes, 100%.
Out in the first 20 minutes of the damn movie.
Yeah. I have some problems with structure and character development and jokes.
Misused actors, as you said.
Yes, definitely misused. Kelly Preston's character is here, and you feel like you're with her. You know, she's our like caregiver character, and then all of a sudden she's just gone, and she is not to be seen nor heard from again.
She doesn't make it past that interview.
Yeah. So last night was my first time watching this. I mean, of course, I remember when it was released, and I remember. I think I remember at the time just kind of the response to it was a little bit like, this is a little disjointed with, what's going on. But I just never got around to seeing it. I mean, it had like, they threw in Mike Myers to get this like, comedy aspect to it. And I could feel like it really wanted to be kind of like a little bit more definitely more broad, a little bit more zany, maybe in the Romeo and Michelle kind of area of like wacky kind of out there comedy, but it just never really found its footing. And I don't know if that was in the edit, and I don't think there were reshoots, but I know that there was a lot of major editing to be done with this movie. But Brad, tell us a little bit of kind of your history with this, like when you first saw it and all of that.
So it's funny, as you play the trailer, I vividly remember that. And I was in college, and I just remember seeing it. At the time, I did not see it in the theater. I probably would have rented it at Blockbuster, kind of on one of those Friday nights, like, college summers where you're just catching up on things. And I'll say this. No, is it a cinematic masterpiece? Not in any way. But there was something just so stupidly entertaining and kind of in watching it again, I don't want to use the word campy because I don't think Gwyneth Paltrow can do camp, to be honest.
Right.
But I think that's also what makes it campy too. There, as you said, there somewhere in it is a good movie. Like, I don't know, good movie, but perhaps a better movie. And I think that's in the airline ensemble kind of thing. But exactly, it feels like it just had 50 studio executives' hands in it, trying to edit it to make it Legally Blonde, Sex and the City, just like a little bit of everything to everybody. But in that respect, it's like sort of like my Showgirls, I just kind of love the crass studio filmmaking of it that is just so cynical. Give us your dollars. Look, we're putting Gwyneth in a push-up bra. Yeah. And has that aged the way, kind of in hindsight, especially Miramax and all that? No. But I still hold on to that kind of crass delight that it gave me that first time,
I mean, bless the early 2000s when Miramax carted out Gwyneth after getting her Oscar in 99 and spent upwards to $30 million on this movie. Something that would never happen now.
100%. Can we take a moment to that? R.I.P. back when $30 million would be spent on a movie like this that doesn't involve, superheroes or anything like that. And nothing against those, but on a rom-com,
an original comedy. Yeah, absolutely. I felt like watching it, like the character, these actors that are in it, they're all so good. Yeah. We know Christina Applegate can knock comedy out of the park.
I'm wearing a Christina Applegate t-shirt right now, actually.
Kelly Preston can kill it. Like I said, she's doing such a great job as this mother figure to the two of them. Gwyneth, obviously. Candice Bergen, I feel like, can be so funny. There's a moment, and I don't even think that this movie deserves a blooper reel over the closing credits, but they got one. And in the blooper reel, there's a moment with Candice Bergen and the dog, and Candice Bergen says, "How long do dogs live?" I laughed harder at that than anything she said in the whole movie, and I was like, her character needed to be that. Her character needed to be, because first of all, what is this
famous flight attendant
mogul?
Yeah. I love that
character.
With the misdirect too of at the end of the day, her marriage is what kind of got her everything that she was. So are we convincing them to be escorts, or what is the goal here? But I agree with you. I feel like Candice Bergen, I mean, again, as go into Gwyneth called it a money grab. This was definitely a money grab for Candice too. But I feel like she winks a few times in it where she's like, "Can you believe what I'm doing?" Right. There's even a line when at the end when she sees her in the airport in Paris, and she's she says something like, it's so excited to be on these flights all the time. Or just basically this is my life. You know what I mean?
Right. And, speaking of her character and kind of a little bit of a misdirect, the ending of this movie, and I guess the moral of this movie, is crazy.
Yeah.
So crazy. I mean, she doesn't ultimately give up her dreams, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But what? The fuck is going on?
Yeah.
So we need to start at the very beginning.
First, when I watched this movie, So I did not see this in the theater.
Uh-huh.
I was
Oh, yeah,
very
when did you
excited
first
for
see
it.
it? Yeah.
Definitely did not come anywhere near my small town theater because I'm sure that this came and went probably within 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, this was dumped
of
in
its
like an
theatrical
April.
release.
Yeah.
But I was working at the video store at the time in my small town. And do you remember working at video stores? You would sometimes get preview copies from like Rent Track or anywhere that sent out videotapes to rent. This would be like, you should buy this.
Oh, sure.
And I remember watching it that way.
Uh-huh.
So I watched it before the video release, fully with the text scrawl of the 1-800 number if you are watching this.
And did you enjoy it?
No,
I'm asking you, did you enjoy it?
Oh, no. What I was saying, that the 1-800 number of if you found this somewhere, call this number because you shouldn't have it. Because it was like for promotional stuff.
So what did you think?
And I do think that I enjoyed it. I mean, it's one of those things that I love Gwyneth Paltrow. I personally do have a fascination with flight attendants. I have ever since I was a little boy, of just how pretty the women looked, how handsome the guys looked, just a handsome pilot. I was very fascinated just with the airline industry. So maybe I just wanted to be Gwyneth when she's like in her royal blue suit. I don't know.
Sure. And the little pillbox hat.
That's funny.
So we need to talk about like every aspect of this movie because I'm fascinated. This poster.
Oh, this poster's out of control.
Amazing. And I specifically am speaking about, again, the amazing, iconic Candice Bergen. I don't know whose body this is. I don't know how old this woman is.
This paper doll.
Any of those,
but
this paper doll figure
Candice
that they have.
Bergen in particular.
Candy's
looks
head on.
Insane on the poster of this movie. And I cannot get over it. And I didn't notice until watching it and seeing how they shafted Kelly Preston that I thought she was in the uniform as everybody else, but she's in her crappy, discount
Sierra
Airlines uniform. Do these kind of, fly-by-night, pun intended, airlines exist? Who knows? They may have in the past, but I don't know. So these flashbacks that this movie starts off on, illustrating that Gwyneth Paltrow's character, her name is
Donna Jensen.
Donna Jensen. And they say it a lot. They say Donna Jensen
a lot of Donnas.
a lot in this movie. So okay.
I feel it was like focused to be like, what's a poor name of like white trash? Like they literally focus grouped this.
So we need to talk a little bit about Donna Jensen. She's from Silver Springs, Nevada. She's got this Blanche Devereaux accent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what she's doing with the voice, but she's from
and she kind of loses
Nevada.
it after the first 20 minutes of the movie too.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, like, and there's so many ways to go with this, but so we'll, get to Gwyneth at some point. But I mean, the first is like patrician Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yes.
Is like should be as close to this as like the Queen of England should be to this. And I love Gwyneth too, but there are parts. I mean, Country Strong comes to mind.
Right.
There's Gwyneth's lane and there's not Gwyneth's lane.
Yeah.
And this is not Gwyneth's lane. I think
Brad,
her research consisted of.
I kind of like Country Strong though.
Honestly,
split ends. I love it. Yeah, I mean, you kind of like Country Strong?
Yes.
Well,
I remember being a staunch defender of Country Strong when it came out.
I will say her singing voice is lovely. Okay, so they're illustrating how, she just came from this poor background. And it's like, on the one hand, yes, she's in a trailer. But you know what? The first scene of this poor, sad, horrible, disgusting life of hers is a birthday party that her mother's giving her with a cake that looks homemade, presents, family surrounded, and what? It was windy because you were out in the trailer park? It's like, dude!
Her mother is an ex-showgirl, and she seems kind of fun to me. She seems like a good time.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, she could have had Reese Witherspoon's life in Freeway. I kept thinking that. I'm like, this is nothing compared to that. And Reese was plucky as the day is long.
I know.
We're out here complaining.
Yeah. Or Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And
100%.
She could have,
totally.
Yeah. And then, the next time we see the mom, it's like, the stepdad, the mom's been married 5 times, I think, and the stepdad's drunk on the couch. But the mom's coming over with a plate of burgers, full, like you got food in your belly and a birthday cake, I'm like, you're good to go, lady.
I love movie poor, though.
Yeah, movie poor.
And also, it's kind of a cute trailer. Like, there's a pink interior.
It had, like, shag carpet.
Totally, and the brother from Freaks and Geeks,
Yes.
the nice brother too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he clearly was over the dad too.
Yeah,
or his
yeah,
stepbrother.
the stepbrother.
They should have banded together.
Yes.
I agree. I mean, again, it's like the studio basically looks like a Joan Crawford Christmas card, but like they were trying to do like white trash trailer, but like no concept of like what And I don't mean to, because I want to get into that too, to toss off white trash. Like that I'm talking about from their point of view, and their cynical point of view. Yeah. And it just really, like, watching it back this time, Pete, I definitely agreed with you with that. Like, and, I'm ashamed to admit there were parts of it, watching it in college, that I was just like, I didn't get the complete cynicism of, like, what small town life is.
And then, like, later on when she's at, this, like, lovely house at Christmas, and she's just like, well, my family just was always, yelling. And I was like, were they, though? We didn't see that.
I mean, and, like, talk about the benefits of a good job at Big Lots. I mean, like, nowadays people would kill for that kind of job,
Yeah.
This is getting ahead of ourselves, but still.
I'm very fascinated with this Big Lots that you can only work there if you have a name that sounds like the department that you work in.
Alliterative name and department.
I don't know why Donna isn't in, like, dining. Dishware.
Dresses. What are the other two that she said that they say? Because Donna gets a job at the Big Lots, at the local Big Lots, and
she's dating Riley from Buffy. Mark Balukas. Do you remember Mark Balukas?
Mark Balukas, who is he? What's he doing? I feel like he's probably on an NCIS.
Oh,
I'm
going for like Hallmark movies.
Mm-hmm.
This has got to be the first and last time that Gwyneth Paltrow has ever set foot in a Big Lots.
Yes, I did.
If that was
do you think she would
location,
even know what it was?
Oh no, she probably thought it was fake. They made it up for the movie.
We don't have clearance yet, Gwyneth. It's just a poor store. I mean, it's literally. But also, this is, to put it in cinematic context, this was at that height, too, of, like, poor porn in rom-coms of, like, remember Hope Floats? Before, but that idea of, like, the rugs ripped out under from you in the small town. Didn't Natalie Portman have a movie like that, too?
Where the Heart Is?
How this movie just view from the top copies every other movie. I feel like the first act is, like, copying those ones of, like, we're just ripping the rug out from under her, you know?
Yeah, definitely. So Donna's dating Riley from Buffy, and he breaks up with her on her birthday, in her birthday card, that he's trying to slip into her locker. And she catches it. She thinks he's having an affair with one girl from Big Lots, but it turns out it's a different girl from Big Lots. And she just kind of has this epiphany that she's going to...
Well, she's sitting in her local bar. I'm not sure what she's doing at this table at this bar. Like, I don't know. She's organizing her life at this bar table, and she sees Candy
ripping up her mail.
Yeah,
right.
And she sees Candy Bergen on the TV doing an interview about a book, and this poses that this movie exists in a universe. First, where September 11th didn't happen, which I find fascinating, coming from like 2003.
Yeah,
and that this flight attendant that Candy Bergen is just this very famous motivational speaker. That is so interesting.
She's a mogul. She's she's a mogul. She's like a Martha Stewart, but a flight attendant, right?
Yeah, I pictured her like Anne Gillian or like one of those kind of like. I know she was an actress, but like, was she? I want to say Anita Bryant, but that I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like one of those like. They martled for like Sunkissed or something. Like,
or like a Miss America, like a former Miss America from the 70s. How they would get on like different strokes or something.
A few Hollywood Christmas parades hosted, and then all of a sudden you have this is her version of a QVC or her book about
a Marianne Mobley type. Yeah, definitely. So she sees Candice Bergen and kind of gets inspired.
She gets inspired. She buys the book and she goes and finds a job at Sierra Airlines. Sure. Yeah.
Yes, sure, exactly. In another trailer to trailer.
Yes. The whole airline headquarters is this trailer on blocks.
I find the backgrounds of this movie to be very interesting when you see scenes like this, because this is when they did a digital background of this, that they would even bother for a movie like this to do a digital background.
Sure.
Yeah, all the Lake Havasu stuff, I definitely was. I think they figured you'd be distracted by Leanne Rimes or Jodie Messina or whoever is telling us to be empowered and love ourselves,
Jeez Louise. The soundtrack was very interesting. I noticed a lot of covers.
The soundtrack is on iTunes for free to listen to. I was listening to it today on my walk.
You know what? In fairness to them, this was before. I personally think Monster with Charlize Theron and Christina Ricci started the revival of Don't Stop Believing.
Oh, yeah, sure. Definitely.
And so I think this technically would have been filmed before that.
You're right.
So they do get credit for starting a current trend that I think we're still
They didn't actually get Steve Perry's vocals, but they got a cover band.
Yeah, cover band. You're right.
Yeah, it's a strange cover. It's definitely not Journey, or if it is Journey, it might be the sound-alike new guy.
Yeah, it's definitely not. Yeah, exactly. It's Gurney.
Right. You're right about this kind of beat Monster
Predating,
to the punch of Don't Stop Believing.
And a full 10 years or whatever having it before Glee pounded it to the pavement.
Oh my God, yeah.
And that's such a big moment for Charlize Theron in Monster when they're in the bar and that song comes on.
They roller skate to it, don't they? Did I remember?
Yeah, it's kind of like their song together.
I mean, it's up there. One of the most romantic moments ever in film.
Yeah. And in this movie, it's actually kind of woven into the score.
A little bit.
100%. Yes.
It's Don't Stop Believing and Time After Time.
Have you guys heard that song? I know I was going to say that. There's this great song, Time After Time, in it too. Never heard that one.
It was just our wedding song.
I think I may have heard of it.
So these
and not the Cyndi Lauper version. Sorry, we have to say that.
Yes,
too.
again, this another cover. Yeah.
So these Judy Jetson hooker flight attendant outfits.
What
is this fabric of this uniform?
Yeah.
Well, they call attention to the fact that real quote unquote airlines, that their uniforms are made of natural fibers. She mentions that.
Yeah.
So she calls out that these outfits.
Brad, did you look up who the costume designer of this movie is?
I should have. I bet it's Patricia Field.
It's Mary Zofries. Mary Zofries is kind of a big deal. She did the original Black Widow uniform. She did Enid and Rebecca in Ghost World.
Oh wow!
Wow.
A few years before this, and she was nominated for an Oscar for La La Land. So kind of a very prolific contemporary costume designer of just sort of whenever, like Mona May from Clueless, whenever you sort of want to elevate something that's contemporary, Mary Zofries is usually the woman that's brought on to do it.
Wow.
I think they were successful with dressing these three. You know, Christina Applegate, Gwyneth, and Kelly Preston. I think they were very successful in kind of showing us these characters.
I kind of want more of
these girls are.
I kind of want more of these three characters together.
Yeah, I feel like Christina was her character. It's we get it, but she didn't really have a lot to I don't know, script wise. I feel like we didn't really get.
No, this is when she was still hauling the heavy weight as the side friend, trying to,
Yeah.
She wasn't fully. I remember she did Jessie, and then she kind of disappeared, and then popped up in all these This Sweetest Thing. There was another one too. I can't remember right now. Was it The Big Hit? Was that Marky Mark movie that she was in too?
That's a Marky Mark movie. Is she in
Remember,
that
she would steal scenes, but with based on nothing.
Right.
That she was given.
And especially in this movie, that Christina Applegate is really selling the shit out of this terrible script. That she's kind of good in this movie.
I agree. It's funny that you talk about Kelly Preston too, because how they did the Kevin can go fuck himself with the Annie Murphy, that idea of that tropey sitcom wife.
Sure, yeah.
I feel like Kelly Preston or Rita Wilson could do that in movies.
Yes.
Where they have they ever I feel like rest in peace.
Yeah.
But it's been 20 years of just nothing. Thankless roles of nothing.
Yeah.
Of are you there to? What are you there to really do?
Like,
you know,
the bitchy,
no
the bitchy girlfriend and Jerry Maguire.
Totally, nothing's passing the Bechdel test. You know,
I feel
like of these roles that like I feel sorry for her because I feel like in the '80s she.
Yeah.
You know, when she was like a young kid.
Yeah.
There was a spark there, you know?
Yeah. Maybe it gets to the point when you're the wife of just like a superstar that you're just like, I mean, I'll act when I want to if it's something that
I'll
really...
act if it's like, if I can just travel for a week and then come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Another thing I mentioned about Kelly Preston and R.I.P. Love you, Kelly. But those jugs in this movie, I was like, oh my God, those can't be real.
I thought it was a water bra. I just assumed her, right?
I was like, smacked me in the face. I was like, oh my goodness. Especially next to Gwyneth. Surfboard. Sorry.
Yeah. and you know, we got to go back to, her costumes, I guess you're right. I get just so kind of distracted by Gwyneth's hair and makeup and the idea of what Gwyneth kind of constitutes. Because, you know, she at that level... already in her career, she's having heavy input with her makeup and hair.
Yeah.
And her version is like lined lips and split ends is like her Jennifer Lawrence and Winter's Bone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The lined lips were crazy.
Yeah.
They're very heavy in some scenes, not so much in others, but it was a lot in some of the scenes. Like, what is your lipstick purple? And then what is like a black liner? It was weird.
And also just her crazy Vegas moosed up look on her forehead of like her bangs.
Yeah, I mean, I get that they're going for this like kind of, you know, kooky character, a little bit in the vein of like a, you know, Romy White kind of a thing, that they're just, you know, over the top with their looks. But yeah, you're right. Gwyneth probably did have a lot of input into it. And I feel like her personal style as Donna was a little kind of scattered. You know, because it was like at some points it was really, you know, over the top and crazy and like teased out, you know, hair and blowouts and backcombed. But then all of a sudden it's like 360 and now she's super like kind of refined. And I don't know if that's the job in showing growth. But
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, evolution.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, you know, one of the things that unintentionally campy things about it too is that the whole movie, it kind of doesn't take place in the right time, as you said, Scott. Like, it's like this golden age of flying that 9/11 killed, but it's also this golden age of like the 60s when like being that kind of prim and proper flight attendant was something that, you know, I still think in the late 90s you were getting peanuts thrown at you on Delta by like some woman who couldn't wait to just go to sleep. You know what I mean? Like this whole idea of what this lifestyle that she wants is certainly not conducive to 2001, 2002,
right.
You know?
I mean, you're spending $30 million on this movie, Miramax. Why don't you just set it in the 60s?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I truly feel like, and I hate to even say his name, but that's where I say the crassness, like of this. Like that Weinstein was just like, oh, we have Gwyneth. She's gonna be hot.
Yeah,
we're putting her in a push-up bra.
It'll put asses in the seats.
Female empowerment shit. Yeah. You know, you live your dreams, and like literally, that was the thought that went into it.
Yeah.
You know,
and then also this director, who I'm not familiar with at all.
He's married to Amy Irving, or at the time married to Amy Irving.
Brazilian.
Yeah, and I'm just watching this movie, and I'm not super technical when it comes to, you know, cinema and all that. So I'm not talking about like shots and f-stops and everything. But I'm watching it and I'm thinking, I don't know about this direction. I feel like this direction is just weird. Very kind of static and just not very dynamic at all, you know. It just seemed like, I don't know, there just wasn't a lot to I don't know, like it was just kind of a job kind of a thing. Like we're just all in here, we're factory, we're going to, you know,
we're going to bang this out in a month.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of what I got out of it from just visually looking at it.
And what we're not hitting you over the head with Gwyneth's voiceover will fully flesh out.
Yeah, the voiceover too. At one point in the movie, which I felt like we're pretty far in, I was like, "Has this voiceover been going on the whole time? Like, what is going on?"
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. So
in my mind, I like to think that, you know, everything starts off good. Like the writer had a kind of fun, subversive script, and there are a few winks at it. And the director had a different idea, and then just the studio system. And by that, I mean, I really do believe at this level, because Gwyneth's coming off an Oscar, and her and Harvey were a team. I don't, nothing. I'm not talking personal, but I mean in terms of the filmmaking. Yeah. And so I believe that the writer and director were just shut the F out.
Yeah, totally. Mark Ruffalo gets introduced.
Mark Ruffalo's so cute in this movie.
He is so cute. He is
adorable.
I
again had not seen it, so I'm watching it going, what in the hell? Where did he come from?
I mean, I think that probably Mark Ruffalo, I mean, he would have just been coming off of a movie like You Can Count on Me.
Yes.
I think.
Let's have a moment of, I love that movie.
Him and Laura Linney are really good as brother and sister in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah, and, he plays this super nice guy. Immediately the Christina Applegate character is, trying to get all up on him and shoving her boobs in his face and all that, and he's just, he's zeroing in on Gwyneth, which it's I don't know. I don't know how much of a nice guy move it is to be well, I'm not going to focus on this beautiful woman. I'm going to focus on this beautiful woman.
Yeah.
He can sense that she's trouble.
She's
he
good.
senses a good spirit.
There you go. She's good at heart, and he picked the right one. But I have a lot to say about how much of a good guy he is based on his later actions in the movie.
He's not very happy for her when she retakes her test and gets to go to New York and work for the nicer airline.
Yeah. I have a problem with that.
Yeah. And I mean, can we talk about his storyline too? Of just I was top of my class, and I was stupid enough to dare think about dreams and happiness. But don't worry, that's gone now. Now that I've met you, I'm back to
it's kind of one of those
capitalism.
It's one of those tone deaf character beats that I'm kind of glad has been phased out of movies now. That you don't really see characters like this now.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. So we kind of meet him at the beginning, but again, it's one of those things where he kind of comes and goes. He's not all the way there. It's just one cute scene.
And I love how they talk about Cincinnati like it is the most white trash city in America.
Oh,
you're really at rock bottom.
Yeah, it's Cleveland.
Cleveland. You're really at rock bottom when you're living in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so insulting to Cleveland. That's what I mean. There's just this whole kind of, you can see the roots of where kind of some of the red state hatred towards the Hollywood elites kind of can come from, not to go so dark with it, but there is a real, we're so much better than you in your shitty waiting area of life, and, go eat your fast food and dream about service and shut up. You know what I mean?
Because these three characters, they become this kind of trio. Kelly Preston shows shows Donna the ropes, and Donna becomes this great flight attendant, and then Donna gets a new recruit, and she shows Christina Applegate, she shows Christine the ropes. So now the three of them are besties, and they're, just on this shitty commuter, airline that has shag carpet on the walls of the bulkhead in the plane, but they're happy, right? They're happy with their little station, and then we see these other flight attendants.
Did you recognize who one of the other flight attendants is?
I did not.
It's Kate. It's Kate Capshaw.
It's Kate Capshaw's daughter. Jessica
Capshaw. Yeah.
She's the main. She's the head bitch of the three flight attendants, and that's when Gwyneth is just their uniforms aren't polyester, and they don't have cutouts to show their cleavage.
She has her big, inspiring speech.
We are every bit as good as they are. We are. And we don't have to spend the rest of our lives working at Sierra for some Weasley ex-bookie. I once worked for Pan Am. 3 whole months. Uniforms were natural fiber. What happened? They went bust. So you started working for Sierra? They needed me a job and nobody else was hiring. Well, they're hiring now. Royalty Airlines Job Fair this weekend at the Marriott Hotel, San Francisco. You guys, this could be so good. Who's in?
Yeah. And you know, it's cool that she includes them. Like, hey, we should all go and like let's all take this test and see if we can like make it big. You know, get in this like legit, you know, airline, whatever. They go do this, and yeah, right away, Kelly Preston. Okay, why does she fail out of like the testing?
I think that it just.
Did it have to do with Mike Myers in the interview?
I think that she's just...
I think it's age discrimination.
Sure.
Right.
Honestly, and they don't want to say it.
Yeah. This is where we bring in Mike Myers.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. I mean, it's one of those things that we kind of forget about this, but at one time in Hollywood, Mike Myers was one of the biggest paid male actors in the industry and just a huge box office draw. How do you like that?
I mean, this is like getting Bill Murray at this time, like getting him in this movie, 100%. Yeah. Do I like that? I don't.
Yeah. I mean, the big character choice. It's like, okay, he's got a wandering, well, not a wandering eye, but you know, he's
just
cross-eyed. All
beating
right.
one joke into the ground.
Yeah. I mean, which he's famous for, and the visual, like the humor based on things people can't control. Like you think of Fred Savage's character,
right?
In, the Austin Penn Goldmember, or even Fat Bastard. Like his humor has not aged well.
Yeah,
a lot of it.
Yeah, it can be a little mean spirited. And then, you know, there's a couple of, you know, there's Mike Myers scenes where they're showing him off, right? Mm-hmm. And in the interview sequence, there's a montage, and in the training sequence, there's a montage, and they're heavily improv'd montages where he's saying things that are they're just like, go, Mike Myers, go, do your thing. And some of them are, Christina Applegate is like throwing back answers, you know. Mm-hmm. Some of them, Kelly Preston just kind of looks a little scared, and some of them, you know. But there are these montages with him doing the improv stuff. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. All of it's based on the eye.
Yeah, it's also what's the reason? Like there's no kind of like there's nothing grounding. Like it's like a tonally different movie too, which I think goes back to that.
That's what I'm thinking.
That was probably closer to the movie they wanted to make.
Yeah,
exactly.
That was my point. I think it feels really kind of out of step with the rest of the movie, but I think at one point
the whole movie was going to be like that. Yeah.
The tone.
Kind of side note on Mike Myers. I love all of these stories with Mike Myers, with crew that work with him, of all of these things that like you can't look Mike Myers in the eyes.
Totally.
Like he's one of those. I love that.
Like Christian Bale stuff. Like he would scream too. I mean, there's been not a lot of good stuff said about him.
Very demanding. I remember when Dana Carvey was on Stern, and Howard brings up the Dr. Evil character. Of just like, well, I heard that you kind of created that voice and that personality, and Dana's just like, yep. And you can just tell, like, this has been years of therapy that Dana Carvey's had to do to accept that Mike Myers just lifted that character from him.
It's his Lorne Michaels impression.
Yeah.
Totally. I picture Mike Myers, because I know he's been married to his wife for, like, ever. Yeah. And I picture him like Jay Leno. It's him and his wife. They're holed up in their like $1 billion mansion, and every comedian, every colleague hates them like with a passion. And they've just come to terms with that, and they buy another car every time someone curses them.
I don't think that he's married to Robin anymore.
I think she divorced him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. The scenes, it makes the movie feel a little disjointed. But also, it also makes me think that, hey, maybe there was something different in there. And, you know, talking about the blooper reel that's over the credits at the very end, there's a shot of Christina Applegate falling as she's sitting on a bench on the boat. That shot's in the trailer.
Yeah.
That shot's in the trailer. And it's like an outtake. And it's like, okay, but they're kind of trying to illustrate, like, it's wacky and these girls are clumsy and, like, Mike Myers is screaming and all of that. So it's like, yeah, maybe it could have gone.
So we were watching some of the featurettes on the DVD. And when they would talk about the movie, like when Kelly Preston was talking about working on it and working with Gwyneth, they were really talking about just how crazy and insane the script was. And just like how much fun it was. So that kind of makes me think, oh, this was cut when this was going to be a late 2001 movie. that you're going to try to do this broad comedy. And you can kind of see that in the featurettes.
Yep. Yeah, I think it was more ensemble. I think it was probably like Rob Lowe, had a bigger part.
Yeah.
I think it was set in the world of like pilots and flight attendants. And then 9/11 changed it all. And I truly believe the success of Legally Blonde changed it all too.
Yeah.
And Harvey went back in and was like, I want my Legally Blonde, make this, cut this, so make it more Gwyneth centered.
Right.
And it just clearly, everyone's in a different movie, even Ruffalo. I feel like he's
definitely.
in a different,
Absolutely.
But that's kind of the fun of it too. I'm not going to lie.
No,
Yeah.
it is, because it does kind of make it a little bit more interesting.
It
This
just
movie
makes it
that's not very
this chaotic mess.
To go back to Gwyneth, do I think she's good in this movie? Not in any way. But do I always think Gwyneth is compulsively watchable? Yes.
Of course, yeah.
I do. She just is. There's some.
She's
she is a
never
movie
been
star to
really
me.
bad
And
in a movie.
Yeah, and no matter what, to me, like her realm is Great Expectations. Even Shakespeare in Love is not my favorite. She needs to play the bitchy, better than you, and no one does it better than her, I think. But not this.
I have to
but
say,
she's still fun to watch.
I have to say, when she's finally in the first class, London to Paris uniform, this like robin's egg blue with the pillbox hat and this like wool or whatever it is. When she walks across the screen in this uniform, it's like, you're like, okay, that's a movie star.
Yeah, there's
she
star quality there.
Beautiful in this outfit. She looks like a model, So there's that thing about her that you're just like, you can watch her on the screen, But she doesn't get to wear that outfit at first because they take their final exam and she ends up on, Royal Airlines?
Royal Express. It's like the horizon to like Alaska or Delta.
Yeah. She's no more Bakersfield to Fresno, but like Cleveland to Cincinnati. So
How do we feel about the one gay character of this movie?
Truthfully, I will say this, and I will defend this. Just consider me one of the girls is like literally like tropey. But I love that they give him a sexual agency scene, where he is able to actually be like, that guy's hot. It's not just Gwyneth, you're pretty, and just keep believing until everything works out for you. I'm going away now. Yeah, there's a little agency. One scene, which also I think hints at that there was a more subversive script somewhere in there. But it's not even a gay actor, which I know this is prior to when we cared about that stuff. But is it, is he fully realized? No.
Yeah. And he's got like very flouncy hair. It's like, what is his haircut that he has? It's like, I don't know what's going on. But you're right, though. You're right. He does, comment on, male passengers and this and that. So
he's getting cruised, there's a moment centered on him for a second.
Yeah.
And
he says cruising.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, somebody put that in there because they were like, you know what? I think he'd say this. So, hey.
Yes.
But
exactly.
So she ends up getting, like her apartment I'm assuming it's in Cleveland. This cute little apartment. That was like,
can we just say too? Everything's brown in Cleveland too. Did you notice that too? Like everything is like Formica and just brown and
wood
just
walls.
Like 70s ant, the Ropers.
Yes. But she's got her Eiffel Tower and her like Arc de Triomphe like framed posters.
Not even
everywhere.
framed, just like tacked on the wall.
Tacked on the walls. Yeah. And she has yet another meet cute with Mark Ruffalo, who is now back in school. And, he was inspired by her.
Donna inspired him to go back to law school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their one dinner changed
How brave.
his life.
How brave. And just randomly is in Ohio.
Yeah, he just runs into her in a cafe.
So they spark up a little something.
They kind of agree that Cleveland is like their waiting room. Their waiting room to life.
True. And so in fairness, it's very common that they would run into each other because according to this movie, Cleveland's just a desolate wasteland. So there's probably only one cute coffee shop that they could ever see. Otherwise, it's like McDonald's and,
or a Friendly's. Yeah. So, what was I going to say? Okay, so we get a little shot. She's doing really well at the Express airline. She's not happy, but she's doing well. She's kicking ass. She's Employee of the Month.
Yeah.
She accepts her plot in life.
Yes.
And she works hard.
Yes. Which is what she was doing at, the little one before.
She was very adamant that I need to look at my test, and they're like, no, you just have to deal with it.
Accept it.
And she accepted it and was going to work hard to get to her dream job at Royal Airlines.
But I love the scene that we get when she meets Christine. Christina was another one of those situations where she's like, well, they had mechanical problems, so they just dumped us here, in this piece of shit garbage town of Cleveland. And,
Christine's come a long way.
Oh, has she? And so she has dinner with Donna and Mark Ruffalo. And I love when she tells the story and she says that, she had a problem customer with something that wouldn't fit in the overhead. And she said, I thought to myself, what would Donna do? So I told him, check it or get the hell out of here. And just the way Gwyneth goes, well, that's not what I would have said.
I love her little bit of acting when she pours out her purse and all the liquor falls out. I like how Christina plays that scene.
Yeah.
Of just like, who wants to do shots?
We can do shots.
That's very Kelly Bundy.
We could just.
I mean, I feel like Christine is like the Anne Hathaway in Les Miserables character here. She's just so wrongfully accused, and so she's fighting the man, and she's taking a little crumb for herself. A little booze.
Are they going to miss all of those liquor bottles? Probably not.
You think the conglomerate of what's it called, Paradise Air or whatever is going to notice that like a few Jack Daniel's bottles are missing, and they literally humiliate her because of this.
Yeah. It would have come out that she did fake the test and steal Donna's, testing number or ID number to pass the test. So once that came out, she probably would have been fired or at least demoted at the very least.
Did we see any study groups? How do we know that Gwyneth didn't try to help? I'm just saying, we don't know every circumstance. Gwyneth seems to just have this natural effervescence, and people like Christine aren't born with that.
That's
what are you
true.
supposed to do?
Yeah, that's true. They could have let them both retake the test.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's a good point. You're
but
right.
she did need to be punished for ruining Gwyneth's life for 6 months or however long it was, a year.
Exactly. But
and
reintroducing her to Mark Ruffalo.
This is true. This is true because what the movie is teaching us is that you're nothing if you don't have a partner.
Yeah,
true. Or that if you're a woman, you cannot have a career and a man. You have to make a choice,
one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think these are strong lessons to be learned by all.
Yeah.
But yeah, because it does lead her to to this man who ultimately is her end goal. I don't know.
He kind of blends with his character in 13 going on 30 too.
Oh yeah,
so just
definitely.
kind of meld into just like.
And also, I feel like Mark Ruffalo played this similar type of guy in Just Like Heaven with Reese Witherspoon.
100%.
It's
very like he literally they might have just photoshopped him into.
You could change him out of all of these roles of just like nice boyfriend.
Nice boyfriend. When Luke Wilson couldn't do it, because at this point I think he was probably like A-list, so like then it was like, we got Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah. Yeah, I always thought of him as like some like indie like darling, but you're right. He did play a lot of these rom-coms at this time. Very interesting. So, we get a good year's worth of her life of just like going to his family's Christmas. His mother, the actress who plays his mother, is the actress who plays Christina Applegate's mother in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Yeah.
That was it. I couldn't place her face. I was like, who is that? I've seen it. Good spot.
Yeah. Well, that's why I looked it up because I was like, where do I know this lady from? And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
She's the mom from Don't Tell Mom. With their red sweaters. And also what I'm assuming to be is his brother who took their family picture like in this scene.
It's a family stone, Home for the Holidays.
Yes, it's
that's a whole nother movie in itself.
Very
too, that they kind
stone.
of wedged into this in some way.
The grandma with like early onset Alzheimer's,
or just about right time onset because she's pretty old. But the actor who plays the brother in this scene is the actor from Roseanne that beat up Aunt Jackie. I was like, no, I still haven't forgiven him.
Fred?
No,
It's
Fisher.
Fred?
It's Fisher.
Oh,
Fred was the one
Fisher.
she married.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was like, no. We hate him.
Did you have? Wow. Did you have to look that up too, or you recognized?
No,
that?
I recognized him.
You just recognized him.
Yeah, I'm a
good.
big Roseanne apologist. But at any rate, we kind of get this whole idea that she's, like we said, she's doing the best with this station that she's at right now, and she's excelling. She has her cute apartment, which is cute from the inside, but there is one establishing shot where he's pulling up to the apartment, and it kind of looks like one of those kind of small little 2-story apartment complexes, and I'm like, ooh, it looks way cuter from the inside. But Cleveland, what can I tell you? What do you want?
That's a nice apartment.
It's just hell.
Yeah, it's just garbage.
Do you think Gwyneth's been to Cleveland?
Oh, I don't know.
And not like stopping there, not refueling at a private airport. I mean, sat down in Cleveland, in Ohio.
I'm sure that Gwyneth has been to the state of Ohio. But has she, though? I don't know.
I don't know. Did she ever? Maybe she went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when she was married to Chris Martin. That's in Cleveland. So was Coldplay ever play at one of those ceremonies? I know they're not in it, but they may have played, or he may have like presented something at an induction ceremony.
That's a good point.
It's the only reason I would think that she could have gone.
You know that whole thing with Gwyneth that she doesn't remember a majority of her filmography?
Yeah.
I know for a fact that she probably does remember making this movie. Like, this movie probably is burned into her brain of, that stupid flight attendant movie that I did. I can never forget.
I agree, and I think that there was a little bit of like, and this is pure speculation, obviously, but like, remember it was like the aughts, and it was all about like 2000, especially, was about that kind of gaudy glamour.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, I think that she recruited it. Like, she wanted to be able to be J-Lo a little bit, but could not be able to be. So this was like her version of it. You know what I mean? Like, her kind of Carrie Bradshaw too, a little bit, which in 2000 was, before SJP kind of became prim and proper, like, and the Erin Brockovich of it all. So I agree with you. I think this was a vanity piece. I don't think she ever thought this was an elevated thing. This was like, I can do anything J-Lo can do.
Yeah. And probably also she might have thought it was a good vehicle to show off, like, comedy. Maybe.
Well, especially around the time when she actually filmed this movie, which would have been shot sort of mid to late 2001, she would have just been coming off of something like Shallow Hal.
Totally.
So she was just like,
Forget
you guys,
about Shallow Hal.
I can do comedy. I was told I was really funny on SNL. She actually was kind of funny when she was on SNL.
She was really funny. Well, when she plays, again, patrician bitches, she's really funny. Like, that's what she's great. Like, she should play the mom. Like, well, she tried to in The Horrible Politician, but I'm like, she would be great as, like, Jessica Walter's character in Arrested Development.
Sure, yeah.
She's very good with that, or dramas like that, like Talented Mr. Ripley. And that's her wheelhouse, but I don't like any of the Marvel stuff. I don't like anywhere she's human. It's just not,
See,
I don't believe it.
I think she's really good playing off Robert Downey Jr. That those two scenes together in Iron Man have a very old Hollywood, like, Spencer and Hepburn and Tracy quality about them. Yeah.
See, I thought more Little Lord Fauntleroy and Eloise together, but no, I hear what you're saying, definitely. Yeah, she's comfortable on camera. Yeah, and she really is.
She's Gwyneth.
She's Gwyneth. And again, I love about her. Like, there's no Anne Hathaway. Like, I'm sorry, you hate me. I'm sorry. She's like, no.
She just doesn't care.
I've been to every hot guy in Hollywood. I'm richer than you. I'm hotter than you. And now my life's even better than yours.
She just can't be bothered. She doesn't care what you think of her.
She doesn't. And I admire that. There's no focus grouping there.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. That is a very kind of admirable like aspect of her personality. That's just like I can't be bothered to give any fucks of what you poors think of me. It's like if you can't afford it, then you can't afford it.
You know, I'm sorry that jade in your vagina gave you toxic shock. It's not my problem.
Oh man. Yeah.
Oh Jesus. But all right. So, you know,
she meets up with Candy Bergen, and they kind of discover the test drama that she was gooped by Christina Applegate.
Because of the heart eyes. Yes. She dots her eyes with little hearts. And Candice Bergen decides that, yes, I can get you the test results. I'll get them faxed over. We take a look at them, and it's not her test. So we figure it out. It was Christine the whole time, who has also been, you know, she stole the little airplane soaps.
It's froze.
The airplane soap subplot.
Yes, the airplane soap subplot, which also I don't blame her for. Who wouldn't take a cute soap like that if there was a whole dish of like 30 of them, you know?
But I think she took all of them.
Oh, well, you're right, bitch.
I think she took each and every. It's like, yeah, take one. Don't take all of them. Like, make it seem like you didn't take one, or you know, whatever. Sure. But yeah. So because Gwyneth Paltrow, not only does she know every rule in the book, she sticks to every rule in the book.
And she's kind of the morality
police.
She's kind of the morality police for all of her friends too.
Yeah, everyone loves that, right?
Yeah, that's the best trait in someone. But yeah, so we find out that her test was stolen from her. She gets to retake it, and she aces the test
because of course she does.
100%.
Classic Donna.
I mean, she only...
Like it's hard?
Yeah, like it's hard. She only would have gotten assigned New York the first time around, but this time around she gets international. First class international.
What does Katy Perry say? With the windows are closed because the door is waiting to be opened, or whatever. The door is closed until you find the window to open. That's Donna's story.
We were laughing at when Donna is walking through the airport in her beautiful royal blue suit. That's the LA Convention Center. Who are you trying to fool? That is the LA Convention Center. As you say that,
I'm like, wow, you are right.
That is not the airport.
That is not an airport.
I also love, when she goes into her first flight as first class international, the plane is completely empty except for Christine. How?
I mean, this movie does exist in a universe where 9/11 didn't happen. She could very well just have walked in.
I don't know. I think if she's been fired for theft from this
They
airline,
practically carried her off with the air marshal. How is she back?
How is she back on an empty plane before anyone else got to board? Oh, I just wanted to say goodbye. To who? What?
I know. And honestly, she's done some irredeemable things, obviously. But does she deserve that send-off? And is it the best send-off for Gwyneth, too? Are we really showing girl power when they're like, it's like beat the bitch down for what she did? And she doesn't even. Christine, of course, beats her down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing.
Christina is all in on this scene. She was all about pounding Gwyneth's head in that bread roll.
We don't know her childhood. She had a rough coming up.
This is true. She might have also lived in a trailer park. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Donna's character gets kind of beat up, and she's all disheveled. This is her first flight, and she's like all disheveled, and like her hair's all messed up, her hat's gone. So yeah, again, this might have been a leftover from an older script or something, but it did seem kind of wildly out of place for the rest of the movie.
100%.
But she gets her wish. She gets to go to Paris.
We get our Emily in Paris montage.
Oh my god! Full beret,
complete with a beret, a black beret. But she is wearing the outfit that she saw in the fashion magazine earlier.
Yes.
I do love there was the outfit. Then the next page was like, "Get the look for less," and it's like, "Girl, get the look for less." Why not?
It's true. French beauty is also smart beauty.
Exactly.
Too, right?
Exactly. Put a little effort into it. It doesn't have to be all effortless. So we get her little montage of there, and then we also get the cute scene where it's her New York apartment, and she's like walking, and the camera pans around.
I mean, it's the only
this 360.
It's the only real directed scene of the entire movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the true ring in Mordor. Like she's finally escaped the hell of the Midwest, and she's finally back where she's back where she belongs.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
but now she's a single woman who doesn't have no man. So, what kind of life is that?
Exactly.
She has Paris. To go back to that, what do you think? Do you think, inspired by all these crappy movies, that like French gays or like French cynical people, like what do you think they think when they see some dumb American girl sitting on a bench with a beret, kind of like feeding the pigeons, or just like staring out, like do you think they take pictures? They should make like an Instagram account of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be eye roll central from like actual French Parisian people, just like, what is this? But
I mean, you can't even handle like gentrification of downtown.
Oh, no, I do.
So
not,
if you were like
if
you were like a French person, you'd be like throwing a baguette at her.
You know what you do? Sit down next to them and light a cigarette. That's just like
just like graffiti the wall behind them. Yeah,
exactly.
But
I digress.
Yes. We get a scene where she's at a friend's home and it's Christmas Eve, and she answers the phone because the friend is just too busy with her, family and hosting this party.
I almost thought the friend was like Nora Dunn, but that is not Nora Dunn.
No, I thought but
she's been in a bunch of stuff. I remember her from she's the SNL booker on Sex and the City that hears that Natasha's been talking bad about Carrie around, or she's Natasha's friend. That's how sadly, my Sex and the City.
Right. Are you excited? Are you excited for the new Sex and the City? Be honest.
I mean, a whole nother conversation.
Yeah,
I'll watch it. But what's the point?
I'm not.
What's the point? Yeah.
It's like the friends were smart not to do it without each other. Like I don't see it, but I can't help my heart skips a beat when they show the paparazzi footage of them like filming.
Yeah.
But so it's like it's bittersweet, but I don't know. I'm not behind it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally. And you know what? I heard a rumor that Pat Field is best friends with Kim Cattrall, so that's why she's not behind it either.
Really?
And she's been posting like on Instagram pics with Kim Cattrall, like all supporting Kim Cattrall. So
I love it.
Maybe they got that. Maybe they got that gay who does the Gossip Girl costumes.
Well, everybody's up in arms that Carrie's wearing Forever 21 in that one paparazzi photo.
Yeah.
So
they look, I'll probably watch. So I can't say, but
of course we'll watch.
Yeah.
Will I be invested in it? Probably not.
No.
So, we get this call for a Christmas Eve shift, and she looks at the friend, and the friend's taking photos with her family and her kids, and she's just like, she can't let the friend work Christmas Eve.
Meanwhile, you're just like, well, what if she needed the hours?
Yeah, I was like,
that's what I'm thinking. Like, how has the world changed? That nowadays you'd be like, bitch, you took that fucking shit from me behind my back. Like, I need that money.
Yeah.
Like, 2001 or fake 2001.
No, I'll stay home with my kids.
Totally.
Yeah. So, she takes a shift. She's working Christmas Eve alone because she has nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently her whore mother died.
Yeah.
Well, when you're a successful woman, your mother that's not married, I mean, your mother might as well disown you.
Exactly.
It's just terrible.
Exactly.
She doesn't need family anymore.
No. I'm sorry. I was just going to say the other funny thing about that is like to get to this Paris shift. So basically you're saying like it's not about the man. I guess it's about the quality of man. So now that she's on the first class Paris shift, she can meet like a Mr. Big. Is that what
maybe,
possibly.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll.
And there's no discussions with the Mark Ruffalo character of, well, can't you just move to New York?
Or we'll work it out somehow.
Like, we're in love with each other, we'll do long distance, or maybe you can just move here.
Scott, move his career?
For her?
What was I thinking?
What are you talking about? For a play career? No.
That is crazy talk.
That's not a real job.
What are you talking about?
Oh boy, yeah. So, well, because we kind of didn't gloss over it. We lightly touched on it, but originally when she was like, "Hey, guess what? This happened. Christine stole my life. I've been living here for 9-10 months when I could have been doing this, and I'm going to do it. They're letting me retake the test. I got to sign, the Paris to New York to Paris." And he's just like, "Well, fine, fuck off then."
Yeah.
I know.
He was more pissed that she, took the job than, than even trying to offer solutions or saying, "Okay, well, I guess we'll work it out. Like, long distance, what's going to happen?" Nothing. Just storms out.
I guess that Cleveland isn't this waiting room after all.
No, or he's a lawyer that doesn't negotiate, as you said, or like there's no kind of like middle ground. It's just like, nope, guilty or not guilty. I don't do in between. I don't negotiate. So she's guilty.
Absolutely. So when she's on this lonely Paris Christmas Eve flight, we run into Candy Bergen at the airport wearing this like marabou, scarf. And they kind of have this little talk about like, "Oh, I'm here, I'm working." Because I think she asks her if she was just like spending the holidays in Paris or something. And she's like, in a flight attendant uniform.
Meanwhile, the Candy Bergen character should know damn well when you're a flight attendant, you work all holidays. Even if like you have seniority, you're probably going to be working the major holidays.
Yeah, it's true. I would love to know how long this career lasted, because it sounds like as soon as she met, the Peanut Rancher, that it was done. This career was torpedoed.
Yeah, yeah. So, they kind of have this conversation about like, no, you need to go back and make it right with your dude. Whatever.
She needs her co-pilot.
She needs her co-pilot.
She needs her co-pilot.
She needs her co-pilot. You're right.
But
and by that she needs to go back to him, as you said, and she needs to fix it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But all that aside, the craziest thing, well, not the craziest thing in this movie. The craziest thing in this movie we haven't even gotten to yet. But the craziest thing up until this point, to me, I'm just like, Candice Bergen is just like, "Hey, you know what? Whatever. You go do your thing. I'll take your shift.
Right?
I'm still on the payroll. They got a uniform in my size. I'm going there anyway."
It's very like suit me up, Uncle Alfred. Uncle
Alfred, yeah. That
she gets to role play with her husband, because clearly, he has a thing for this, so it's going to make New Year's even better.
There you go. This flight attendant fetish. That blew my mind. I was like, she is not going to work. And again, we have been led to believe that this woman is a Martha Stewart level mogul. She literally said that she was just on Oprah.
Yeah.
And now for this girl who she's interacted with 4 times, she's just like, sure, go home, live your life, apologize to your ex, and get your shit together, and I will work your shift as a flight attendant.
Yeah.
On a 12, 14-hour flight.
Our flight, totally.
Oh,
I'm trying to think of like what the equivalent of this would be for an influencer or somebody famous.
Well, them getting behind the bar or getting behind like serving drinks at the restaurant, aka causing more drama.
This would be like Lisa Vanderpump after she like had some inspiring speech to like one of her bartenders.
Yeah.
Of that, you need to go get your man. Don't worry, I got the bar shift. As Lisa Vanderpump at Pump just like hops behind the bar and starts like mixing drinks.
I'll close out the batch of credit cards at the end of the night.
Exactly. It would have been funny like if someone came out and they were like, "I'm sorry, Miss Bergen, you're too old." Like in fairness to like Kelly Preston's character.
And this is one of those moments in the screenplay that I'm just like, why can't you write Kelly Preston in the last act of this movie? Like, what if she's just like walking through the airport and she like
she's married,
and she has this conversation with Kelly Preston instead. That like
you know why? I'm gonna get literary with this.
Sure.
Kelly Preston is a repetition of her mother, and so therefore this is her moving away and moving towards Candice Bergen and towards the life that she wants and a new mom.
I don't know.
No more Silver Springs. Bye, Porpoise Spit. No more.
Oh man, yeah, that's the other thing. Like a funnier script would have been some like really a fake podunk town.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
Totally.
Show us a little bit of why it's so sad.
It would have taken it like 10 steps further of just really how country this town was.
Yeah, yeah.
A different actress. I mean, just think of Kirsten Dunst, like just someone that like just that wouldn't have done it with a wink and would have actually even Reese. Back then, I love Freeway and that's a comedy too, and there's not that pandering down, you know. Yeah. But I agree, like just why even name the town? Like why do they have to be so mean to certain places? You know, it's like.
Totally, yeah.
Why do you gotta do rural Nevada dirty like that?
You know, is Silver Springs? I've never. Where is it? Is it by Reno? I assume it's by Reno because whenever they shit on Nevada, it's always the Reno.
Yeah, because she gets a job in Laughlin.
Oh,
yeah. That's where the airline went from Laughlin to Fresno. Oh my god.
I mean, it's this type of Hollywood filmmaking about poor people is one of the main reasons why I hated a movie like Hillbilly Elegy.
Yeah,
I didn't see it. It's just condescending. It's just like it's sort of liberal Hollywood's idea of how lower class people live.
Totally. And if you notice too, there's nothing that's beyond their circumstances. So like if you're poor, it's because you're stealing and because you're a thief and because you don't dream big enough, or it's because you're not number one in your class, which everyone here is just number one. I love the way they throw that shit out of like, he's number one in the class, she's number one in the class. Everybody's just number one in the class.
She broke the trainee record.
It's just, you know, and we won't even the ending, which I think you were hinting at, is just the most what the fuck. I won't spoil that yet. But I mean, that is like talk about just like how the hell did we get here? Oh, I just woke up one day and this is what happened.
Yeah, yeah. With no okay.
So, I mean, we can get there.
Yeah, no, we have to get there because you know, I think we cut directly to Mark Ruffalo's parents' house.
Yeah. Just barges
poor grandma.
Just barges in, and this whole subplot with the grandma, I'm just like, oh my god, like this woman has Alzheimer's, and
plus,
just like,
too, like, and I'm not trying to be an expert on, but like, can't you just hear? Like, I thought it was like a thing, like you can't have two Christmas scenes in a non-Christmas movie,
right?
Like this one's like very Christmassy for like non-Christmas.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. I mean, it is a good way to illustrate passage of time, but yeah, it's like all right, two Christmas trees.
And I like that Donna is that self-centered, telling this very moving monologue about her relationship with Mark Ruffalo that she doesn't realize that like his grandma is right in front of her, and like you could tell, like, is she like sundowning? I don't know. Like she's like clearly has
listening to you.
She clearly has
She's
severe
putting tinsel
Alzheimer's
on the tree. She's trying to put tinsel.
But, you know, maybe Grandma didn't hear it, but Mark Ruffalo did. He was coming down this grand staircase in his house.
It kind of annoys me of how this house is set up, that the front door is in the left side of the house.
It's not in the center.
It's not in the center. I don't like that.
That's too. So the book that you recommended that I listened to the comic book Iowati on top.
Yeah,
he brings that up, the mise en scene of that scene specifically, and that it's because the director or whoever is trying to show us that she's caught between her past and her future coming down the stairs.
Ah, I see.
That book is out of control.
Insightful.
So I listened to probably about 2 hours of that book, and he breaks down that movie shot by shot. Like it is Citizen Kane. What's
I don't
his name?
think I had an analysis of
right. So this is Richard Iowati. Listeners, you may remember him if you watch the IT Crowd. And he's a British comedian, and he did a forensic analysis of View from the Top.
And like Brad and I, he's just very fascinated with it. Of that, this is a movie that they like shelled out money for, and I'm going to break this movie down scene by scene.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And got a good cast for it, and like sold out $30 million for it. Yeah, he wrote a book on it, so we shouldn't feel bad that we've watched it a few times.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so they have their little reconciliation, right? He's just kind of like, hey, you came back for me.
Yeah.
You fucked off from your other job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Get ready to move back because I'm not moving to New York.
Yeah.
Totally.
So does it immediately cut to the final
It immediately
shot?
cuts to the final shot of the movie, which is out of control.
Yeah.
So we have to break this down. It is the camera panning down the aisle of the plane towards the front of the plane.
And you can hear Gwyneth's voice.
And
Yes.
she's giving the, kind of announcements over the speaker, which she has done throughout the movie. So we've seen Gwyneth.
We're led to believe she's roasting peanuts or doing something while she's.
Well, we also see
the flight attendant.
The flight attendant
on the phone
sitting down, and her face is obscured by the bulkhead or a passenger or something. And as we get closer, it's not Gwyneth.
She hangs up the speaker and she's still talking.
Yes,
too.
She hangs up her little thing, and the voiceover's still going, and the door to the cockpit flies open, and who is in the captain's chair?
Gwyneth wearing aviators, about to take off.
I think they just landed.
Oh, she just okay, just landed.
Not since Britney Spears' "Toxic" has a plane scene just riveted.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, this is like truly telling a story through pictures.
Well, first of all,
this is filmmaking.
First of all, she is turning around, looking into the camera, delivering this like disembarkation speech as the plane is still taxiing.
Totally.
It's still rolling down the runway, and now she's fully with her back to where she should be looking.
Watch the runway, Gwyneth.
Watch the runway, sister. But yeah, she has never throughout this entire movie uttered one word of wanting to ultimately become a pilot. That's never been part of her main plan. But hey, here we are. Here we are.
She made it happen.
I'm conflicted with it. On the one hand, like, is it like a cheaply reached ending that like is not deserved in any way and was not peppered, as you mentioned, in any way? But also the alternative would have been like babies in Cleveland and giving up her career.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I'm like, it's kind of very, I guess, like symbolic of like the shitty kind of roles that women had to see themselves in, like every single movie up until like 2 years ago, and even then it's still pretty. I mean, it's just kind of like leaves you feeling like
like they're trying to be progressive by saying, hey, she
like
got even further.
Like we're gonna put her on the top of all of the airline jobs and make her be a pilot.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't feel earned at all.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a performative progressive.
Yes.
You know, it's like, here she is smiling pretty with her pilot hat on, it's not like, it's like Barbie the astronaut without really like,
even if she was
how did this happen?
An executive maybe at the airline or like,
or even like cut to her on a television show like Candy.
Yeah.
That she also wrote a book. I don't know.
About how to have it all.
Yeah.
How to reach your career goals and how to, and he's a stay-at-home husband now or something, like agreed.
Yeah, but this just feels kind of out of left field and just not in any way earned, but hey.
So I never told my story of how I was almost a flight attendant about 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So, like I said at the beginning of the show, I've always been fascinated with flight attendants, and I just was never at a point that I really decided to pursue it. And I remember I was just working at a bookstore at the time, and I was just like, I think I'm going to look into it. Like, I'm going to look into working for either Delta, American, or Alaskan Airlines. And I ended up getting sort of a introduction job interview with Alaskan Airlines that I had to go to San Diego. So I got on the train to San Diego. I think I even bought a suit for it. I think that my mom gave me money to go to like Macy's to buy like a suit. And I went to the training for Alaskan Airlines. And I just remember sitting like in like the chairs with everyone just thinking, I can't do this. Like, what am I doing here? And then I got chicken and I left midway through.
Well, they had given you some weird thing about like the drug testing and like smoking and all that
supposedly
stuff.
like you can't even smoke a cigarette,
and you were just I'm not going to pass any
I'm just
of
like
this shit.
I don't know if I'm going to pass this. And even just like looking at all of the sort of this is what you're signing up for, to be an airline stewardess or like an airline, like what's a flight attendant. That's the more like PC way of saying it, of just like you don't have a choice of where you live. It is a lot of fucking hard work. It's just not being a waiter, like a wait. It's not just being a wait staff in the sky. Like, you're responsible for people's lives. Which I think that maybe if I was at a very different point of my life, and also if I was single, I would have done it. But I just remember thinking, I can't do this. Mm-hmm. Like, no. Like, I don't think this is for me.
Yeah. I just feel like it's 24-hour sleep deprivation, dehydration, and jet lag. But my family comes from like working in the airlines, not as pilots. Well, my grandfather was in World War II, but then he just worked for the airlines. And him and my uncle were always like, be a baggage handler. You get just as many free flight perks, and you don't have to fly all around the world and deal with shitty people, you know? And so like, I always looked at it like that. I think it's really cool to be able to, because people see the world doing it. Yeah. But it's like being a wait. It's like all the shitty parts of being a waiter in the sky and having to save these assholes' lives. Yeah, you know, it's like,
and especially if you're in a relationship, you can't really see your partner, and also you don't have a choice of where you live too.
Yeah, no.
Like, I think for Alaskan, it's either you live like you're stationed in LA, Seattle, Portland, or it's like Denver or Salt Lake, and they assign you, and you have no choice in the matter.
Yeah, no. And they're always the type of people that are like, I only have 24 hours, so I'm gonna see Hong Kong, then I'm gonna go visit my friend and the this and this, and I'm like, if I have 24 hours, I'm like, I can watch a movie and probably sleep for like 20. Like, I do not pack my days. Like, you need to be that kind of person that likes doing stuff too. And I'm just like, no.
So
like,
so I left. So I left the hotel. And I went to downtown San Diego, and I just went to Gone Girl. I went to Gone Girl by myself to just like wait for my time to catch the train.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Yep,
I love it.
So much like Donna, you chose love.
Mm-hmm.
Over your career.
And I mean, I think just like the airline industry is so fascinating with gay men that just sort of gay men have just made this interesting niche in the career of being a flight attendant. And I was kind of reading a little bit about it, that there was a lawsuit in the 70s of the airlines being like a discrimination, that like they wouldn't hire any men being flight attendants. And some guy won it. And then all of a sudden, all of these essentially gay guys just became flight attendants in the 70s.
Flight attendants. Huh. I mean, sadly, I think in the 70s and 80s and even 90s, it would have been really conducive. Like, if you didn't feel like you were going to get married, you wanted to travel all the time, you perhaps weren't close with your family. So you're just like, I want to see the world, get paid to do it. And like, I don't have anything tying me down. I can see why a lot of gay men would be attracted to it. You know?
Uniforms, you look really cute in them. I'm fairly positive that Grindr was created for male flight attendants.
100%.
Well, we know they use it.
Mm-hmm. And then have you ever been out at bars where there's just a whole group of gay guys that are there just with and they're just on a layover? We used to see that at our local bar here.
Well, Virgin would put them up at the Pasadena Hilton.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
40 miles away from LAX. No one knows. They didn't know. They were just like, they were Virgin and they're all British guys. And they were just like, they just put us up at the Pasadena Hilton. We don't know why. It's just the way it is. And, so they would always come to our little local gay bar, just hang out. Big gaggle on. Very interesting.
It's like, have you really had a gay experience if you haven't met some drunk, horny flight attendants at a bar? Right?
Absolutely. But, okay, so what about this movie kind of draws us to it, kind of makes us revisit it? You know, Gwyneth, obviously. But, I
think there's something very charming about that. This is a movie about a real life job. Like, she's not like a fashion executive or like a magazine editor or all of the other bullshit jobs that you see in movies. Like, being a flight attendant is a very attainable career just for your average everyday person, and they don't really make movies about stuff like that. And I think that that's all a part of the charm, kind of, for me when watching this, especially when I was a young person, that I thought Gwyneth Paltrow was so pretty and just sort of like, this could be me walking through an airport dressed like Gwyneth. Like, this is a very, like, aspirational career.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I would agree with that. I think a little bit of it was that for me, and I mean, not to, you know, you can never take away from something from an 87-minute movie in this world of like 2.5 hour movies. Like, I think it was just short. I saw it at the right time. I think I did see it after 9/11, and it was nice to kind of see airfare kind of like light a little bit at the time when it was just like they were like death bombs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
just a very safe and comforting movie.
Yeah, it was just comforting, and like I said, the kind of unexpected camp of Gwyneth trying to be a real person is just you know. But yeah, I agree. It's kind of comfortable, and even this time watching it again, I've probably seen it now about 5 times, but this would be the first time in about, I would say, 7 or 8 years, and it's still like, I saw the issues and why it's a mess, but it still went quick. You know what I mean? For lack of a better word.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, it goes down easy as bad movies go.
I'm also just a huge sucker for just career women in movies. I always remember being really affected by movies like Working Girl when I was younger, or like Baby Boom.
Yeah.
What are kind of other great working girl movies that we've done on our show?
Big Business.
Big Business, yeah. Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead with Christine Applegate. Like, so good.
Yeah.
So good. 100%. Yeah, I agree. There is that level. And there's that fun kind of girlish aughtness to it.
Definitely,
The soundtrack is like pales in comparison to a Legally Blonde or even a Clueless, but it's just got that still kind of, it's like fake pep. You know?
For sure.
I hope that Gwyneth kind of has learned to sort of laugh about this movie too, and just like not take it so serious, that you can sort of joke about this stupid flight attendant movie that you did for Miramax in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this movie's crazy, but I feel like if you can get your hands on it,
we had to get the Netflix DVD of it because we didn't want to pay for it. In a rental,
because you can still get movies sent to your house in the mail.
Yep,
we're so old. The internet comes in the mail. But I if you can get your hands on it, watch it, give it a shot. It's as far as like I said, as far as bad movies go, it's on the fun side. It's
such a sincere bad movie too. That it is really trying to sell the shit out of this story.
Yeah. Do you think if this had been a bigger hit, Gwyneth would have gone in that direction more so, trying to make more of these kind of, because this kind of ended this too for her.
That track of funny movies,
And what's maybe. And what's also interesting about looking at Gwyneth's filmography at this time is that she doesn't feel overexposed. Like, she was only in a handful of movies in the early 2000s. It's like, I think that she did this and Sylvia in the same year, and Sylvia was a huge bust, and then went on to do like Sky Captain, The World of Tomorrow, and then Proof for Miramax again. So didn't really work all that much. And just
don't forget Duets and Bounce.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep.
In 2000, but she kind of Duets. She had a small part, and Bounce was a disaster.
Yeah, another disaster Miramax movie.
Boy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can sit around and discuss Gwyneth's over all afternoon.
We'll do a deep pull of Gwyneth's career, I'm sure, soon.
Yes, but we are actually running out of time today. We do have to wrap it up. This has been so much fun.
It's so good. It's so good to catch up with you, Brad. I remember that you were one of our last big in-person recordings before. The whirlwind of the lockdown of 2020, and it was so much fun seeing you then, and it's great to catch up with you now.
Yes, indeed.
Vice versa, guys. Thank you for having me. It's fun.
You're very welcome, and we'd love to have you on again in the future. So we'll get thinking about next projects to work on. But until then, we bid you adieu. See you later, man.
Bye, Brad.
Bye, guys.
Bye. And thank you so much for listening, everybody.
Thanks so much.
View from the Top, man. What a crazy movie.
Yeah. I don't think I would have called doing a View from the Top episode, but
No.
I'm glad that we got there, though.
Yes, and we do recommend giving it a shot if you can get your hands on it. But it is about that time. We've got some fun stuff to read for you
I think
today.
we got some new iTunes reviews.
We do. We've got some new iTunes reviews. Scott, you can read these two, and then I'll read the last one.
Here's one from Pods Are Awesome from Apple Podcast. I started listening to Movies That Made Us Gay during lockdown and was immediately drawn in. Love the smart movie choices, super humorous and smart. I enjoy listening while working from home. Scott and Pete are charming. Oh, thank you so much. And handsome. See their Instagram accounts. Woo, I love that. They also introduced me to another fave podcast, That Aged Well. We love That Aged Well. Go listen to Paul and Erica.
Yes,
Just listen to
indeed.
Mean Girls episode, and Pete accidentally called Gretchen Wieners Dawn Wieners. And we now have to do a Welcome to the Dollhouse episode, please.
That is from our listener, Gary Scanlon.
Thank you so much, Gary.
Thank you so much. We posted that one on Instagram, and Gary reached out and was like, that was me.
We do need to do a Welcome to the Dollhouse episode. I love that movie.
Absolutely. We've got one more for Scott to read.
From Cupboardy85 from Apple Podcast.
But they're in Canada.
Canadian. Scott and Pete choose a great selections of film to discuss. I look forward to each Friday.
And what's the title of that review?
My absolute favorite podcast. Woo-hoo. Thank you so much.
And lastly, this review comes from Apple Podcast user MJ Pod out of Great Britain. The title is There's Something a Bit Queer About This Movie. Great podcast with fun, enthusiastic, and knowledgeable hosts. The informal chat style works perfectly, and the choice of movies is as diverse as it is pinpoint accurate for the title of the podcast. We all, as young queer people, probably thought that we were quite alone in our feelings and observations about certain films, but clearly we were prepping for a welcoming community full of shared experience.
I love that.
I absolutely love that.
One of our main thesis statements of the show.
Yes. And that is, like I said, is from Apple Podcast user MJ Pod, but they are on Instagram, Greenhead Design, at Greenhead Design. And they're an artist. They've got some really fun art. Some really fun art on
We
Instagram.
just followed them back.
Mm-hmm. So they reached out to us as soon as we posted that one in our stories. Another, hey, I wrote this. So we love it when people claim
love that.
their user reviews, because we love to get user reviews on Apple Podcasts. It helps for other people to find us. It spreads the word. It's really great, and it's so nice, you guys.
Yeah.
It's so nice. We
really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. And then secondly, it's time for some Patreon shout-outs.
Yay!
We love it. So these are our patrons that support us there. They subscribe and they contribute to the Patreon. We would love to say hey, hello to JJ, Brandon, Amy, Leighton, Shelby, Merle, Jacob, Michael, Charlie, Heather, Paul, Jamie, Drew, Jimmy, Genevieve, Don, Josh, Emma, Millie, Aaron, Melinda, and Jim, Jessica, John, Nick, and Shannon, Christine, and Rufino. Thank you guys so much for subscribing and contributing to the Patreon.
Probably by the time this episode comes out, we'll have a new commentary
Yes,
up, too.
We are going to record new commentary very soon. If not tonight or tomorrow night, then soon. Yeah, so it should be up and running, and it's most likely going to be Twilight.
Yeah, I think we're going to do Twilight. It's having a moment
Netflix.
Right now on Netflix that
Yes,
we have to give it a rewatch.
Yes, indeed. So to all of our patrons, thank you so much for being a patron, and head over to patreon.com/movies that made us gay to see some different tiers of some fun stuff that you can get.
Also, subscribe to us wherever you get podcasts: iTunes, Spotify,
Amazon Music,
Audible,
Google.
I think we're on them all.
Whatever, we're on. Everything.
And while you're at it, give us 5 stars, please.
Yes, indeed.
Helps with visibility.
Yes, indeed. So you can find us on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Movies That Made Us Gay.
And at MTMUG Pod on Twitter.
Yes, indeed. My name is Pete. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter at Peter Lasagna.
And I'm Oscar Scott on Twitter, Scott Youngballer on Instagram, and just Scott Youngbauer on Letterboxd. See what I'm watching.
Yes, indeed. Until next time, everybody, thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.